This is Season 3 of The Score, the Team Roping Journal's regular podcast, where the team roping world talks. We've told the stories of some of the greatest cowboys, horses, and moments in the sport, and we're so far from done. In 2020, we'll bring you more of what you've come to expect, like interviews with the best cowboys and cowgirls we know, and we'll dive even deeper into subjects you care about. Look for more audio editions of the Team Roping Journal stories you might have missed in print, and learn about the great horses shaping the sport and great challenges facing our industry. All this and more in 2020. I'm Chelsea Schaefer. Before we get into the interview, we've got to thank our partners at Nutrena and Safe Choice. Check them out at nutrenaworld.com/safechoice, and you'll learn more about them at the commercial break. Man, guys, this podcast is really long overdue. We recorded this interview with Colby Lovell via Microsoft Teams because none of us are face-to-face. We're all social distancing right now, but I think the audio turned out great. You'll have to let us know what you think. So Colby Lovell is rodeo's hog hunting header from South Texas, and he has won almost $900,000 in his 14-year career pro-rodeoing. He's roped with the greats like Martin Lucero, Colby Lovell, and Russell Cardoza, and he turned a whole lot of heads at the 2020 RFD-TV's The American, heading for young gun Jared Fillmore, placing second, worth $25,000 a man. Colby spends his spare time with his wife and 2 kids, working on the family's ranch, making great horses. And he spent much of the last year helping young Cody Nessmith, a 23-year-old header who's battling cancer. In this episode of The Score, Lovell talks about his career and how his time with Nessmith has shaped his outlook and his life. How are you? How are you guys handling the downtime with quarantine? What's been going on at your house? Anything different than hog hunting and roping steers?
Not so much really different. I mean, I haven't rodeoed in the last 3. This will be my 4th year, so other than going and working cows or going to an amateur rodeo or baseball game or hanging out with the family or riding horses all day, it's pretty much the same other than not being able to, having an eerie feeling when you walk somewhere and somebody walks up to you don't know, or having a weird feeling about getting diesel or going to the gas station. I mean,
yeah.
But as far as the rodeos, I haven't been in the buildings and stuff like that. I've gone to where I could get in or where I could go. And then in the summertime, I've been home and just going to amateur rodeos. So, I mean, I'm not no panic.
Yeah. But, man, it's like coming off such a big high of the American. Like, it's like you went from all the excitement of being in the short round of the American, winning money there, to nothing. That sucks because you guys were kind of hot at the moment.
Yeah, it to an extension, but it was, Jared and I, he got down here at the beginning of the year, and we worked at our roping together and our run a lot. I mean, we have roped a bunch and put in the time, and I think we ran like 11 steers or either 12, I think 11 sudden death steers to get to the spot at the American. So the pressure that led up to it was an extension of about 2 months long, really.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the neat part about getting to go through that far. I mean, when you get to that point of get to the American and you start hitting the reality starts kicking in that, man, this could happen. We've already, you got to have just a little bit of everything, a luck on your side as far as steers and stuff going your way, but then also you got to do your job, not get ahead of yourself. It's a neat experience. I'll say that for the most. It was the second time I had qualified to the American and got eligible for the $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
I did it with Koontz once, and they took the top 4, and I think we ended up 5th. We were 4-3 and didn't get the rope. And then Jared and I, with the way they did it the other day, I mean, Jared roped great there, and we caught our steers. And, I wish I would have done a little bit better on the last steer, but, I'm glad with where we ended up. I mean, it is what it is. It was life-changing, could have been life-changing,
Mm-hmm.
But nothing changes. I got up the next day, and 2 days later, I think I had working cows in Stephenville and Morgan Mill and Dublin, and then come home and went back to roping. And, same thing. Just it has been weird on the weekends getting to spend a lot of time with my kids. We've got a lot of rain down here where I grew up. It's on the river, and my grandpa's land, and the river. It's when a lot of rain comes from up north around Dallas area or something. The river gets high, and it'll have dog extensions of, like I call them, dog legs. It'll feed off into the creeks around, and the creeks get up and they overflow and they flow the big bottoms. And there's a lot of stuff to do for us. Like as far as I don't know, I kind of call it living off the land, which is old school saying, but it's like I told my wife. I said, everybody can be in a panic, but one thing about it, we're gonna be good.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of pasture for the cows and everything too. Like you're not worrying about grass at the moment?
No, everything's good. Like the water down there, we just push, and that's, you got to, it's kind of like you just got to, I don't know, you got to play for the weather, you got to put that into the cause of, what if the water gets out? You can't have, too many cows per acre, and you got to put all that into effect, and you never know what's going to happen during the year, what's going to play out. Everybody wants a Cinderella story with calves to sell high and lots of grass and lots of rain, but lots of hay. But you never know when there's going to be a drought. You never know when half your bottom's going to be flooded for 3 weeks, and kill all your grass. Or you just have to put all that into effect. You have to do the math.
Now, your son's like a superstar athlete, but I know he's a football player. Is he missing any spring sports right now, or is he?
He likes to play football. He enjoys hunting, and he's not. He doesn't. My little girl, she's 6. She's eat up with it. She's crazy about riding. I mean, we're roping right now, and she's on a little bitty pony that she broke. She's all bareback. She's riding with Jared. I got a buddy over here that's heading for him right now, and she's riding. My son, he's in the house doing schoolwork because of right now, but he doesn't. It's not like he's crazy about sports. I mean, he's just real fast. He's done good. They had 2 track meets, and the first track meet he won. They won the 4x100 and the relay, and then he won the 100-yard dash out of, I think there was 6 heats. I don't remember how many. Yeah, there were 6 heats. I think there was 8 schools there, but he won the 100-yard dash, and then the next meet, I think he was 3rd or 4th, but he enjoys it. He likes to hunt and fish. I mean, he likes being outdoors and hunting and fishing and just going with the flow.
Now, were you raised, well, we talked about the American, and we talked a little about what's going on right now. Were you raised just like your son is being raised now, like in the same spot, doing all the same things? And who raised you? And tell me how you grew up.
No, I was. My little brother, Joey, is 11 months younger than me. And
oh, wow.
I grew up in Crockett, Texas, and my mom lived in Mansfield. My dad lived in Crockett, so I would stay all summer with my dad. My dad, he owned a rope shop at the time, and so we built ropes all summer, and then we would rope in the evenings and stuff like that. And my little brother, he didn't care about it. He can rope. He'll come over and hang out and stuff like that, or might rope once a year. And Levi's he gets into shooting a gun. He's really likes to be real precise on shooting all of his pellet rifles. He likes to see how good he sighted them in and stuff. That's just like a knack for anybody else. I mean, he's got a love for that. He's just like my little brother, and which is fine with me. I don't care. If he wants to rope, I'm all for it. If he doesn't matter with me. I want him to play football through high school and stuff just because I enjoy watching the games, and I do enjoy watching him run the ball. He is fast, and I get into it. He tells me I need to be quiet up there. He says I sound like a crazy redneck when I'm hollering, but I can't help it. I enjoy watching him. My little girl, she's going to rope. She's going to ride. I mean, 2 days ago, I spun her a steer, and she 2-footed her first steer, and she's 6 years old. So this is the point of, my brother and I, we grew up in Crockett, and my dad worked at the prison when we were 8, 9, 10 years old. So we would stay with my grandma and grandpa, and I had a goat, and we had pellet rifles. And he would come back at 5:30, 6 o'clock when he'd get off working at the prison. He'd come back and get us, and we would I would rope the goat all day, or we'd go bird hunting or stay out all there was to do. We had, I think my dad, we had 4 steers I think we roped those 4 steers for like 2.5, 3 years. And they had the worst head tricks. I mean, they were a terrible set of steers, but, we had something to rope, and we'd go to a horse sale on Saturday night there in Elkhart. He might buy a horse for $300 or $400 or $500. We'd go home, me and Joey or whoever, my dad, we'd mess with it, see if we could get him going and try and sell him. And I don't think we ever got one good horse out of there, but I think sure learned what not to mess with in a horse deal. But, and then my son, my wife and I, we started early, very, very early for me in life, and her. And I had to grow up quick, when I was 17. I was blessed with Levi, and my roping went from hanging out and, having a good time doing it to a goal of making the NFR and dreams of making the NFR to a reality of, hey, you got to grow up and take care of your family. And Levi and Cassie, if this is what you're going to do, every loop you throw counts. And I think that's what helped me when I first started rodeoing. I was very, very fortunate and lucky enough to get Kory Koontz when I started out and tried to make the NFR the first time. But it come to a point of I knew that all the weight was on my shoulders when I started heading.
Gosh.
A lot of young people nowadays, they think just because they're young, it takes time to mature and grow up. No, I'll learn, like Jared, he's done a great job. Never been in any kind of the atmosphere as the American. He got down here this winter, and thank God I headed good during that time for him, and he's taking advantage of it. He hasn't missed any steers, and he's roped good, and, he hasn't get caught up in anything. He does his own deal, and he's very appreciative, and I think, that's what helped me as far as growing up when I first started rodeoing.
Now, Denny texted me the other day and said, he's like, you need to get on that Jared Fillmore story. Nobody's ever gone from a 5 to a 10 before in 1 year. Like, what about Jared made him learn so much so fast?
I think there's people in the team roping world that, just like football or baseball or any kind of sport, just because they showed up that day and they're somewhere where there's people that's been there, done that, and the best in the world, doesn't mean that their goal or their dream, it shouldn't be the same, or, they shouldn't have the same chance. And then to an extension that they are that good.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes it just takes a chance and an opportunity. He went through a lot, heck, the best way for him to put it, he just likes to enjoy life. He just, when he goes every day, he's been on the verge of being gone, and that's a different aspect of anything, when you've gone through a lot like that. And then he does have the talent, and just what me and him talk about, he racks my brain and wants to know what I think about why I might do something with my horsemanship doing it at 6'10", or when I'm heeling, why I might do this or that. And we talk about it, and, he doesn't get caught up in nothing. He stays in his lane, and he catches 2 feet. His goal is to catch 2 feet, And shoot, I think that's the whole goal and everything,
Yeah. Did you know what he was going to wear?
No.
Did you?
No.
You didn't? Were you surprised? Like, did you see him out at the trailers wearing that, and were like, "Dude, you got to change," or did you just let him be?
I stay in my lane. Hey, I stay. I saw he stepped out of the truck and he looked at me and he said, "Don't say anything." And I said, "Man, you don't have to worry about me saying anything. As long as I'm not worried. The last thing I'm worried about is your shirt. I'm fixing to try and turn these next 3 steers for this much money." And if you've got enough balls to wear that shirt in this element of atmosphere, kudos to you. You're the man. That's the way I looked at it. And he's like that. He doesn't care. That's what makes him who he is. That's what sets him aside. Little things like that doesn't bother him. He doesn't care if he misses or something goes wrong and he drew attention to himself because of something he wore.
Mm-hmm.
That's not, and 95% of the people aren't like that. Their pride gets in their way. is to an extent of, hey, I'm going to draw attention. He doesn't care. His pride doesn't mean anything to him. He's just going to be him, and he's going to do his thing. And, you know, what good does it do if he had a white shirt, black shirt, or that shirt on? If I don't turn the steer, it doesn't matter what shirt he's got on. You know, so if I turn the steer and he misses or has bad luck and he's got that shirt on, it's the same thing as he has a good shirt or whatever kind of shirt. I really don't even know if it was I don't even remember, was it a Texas flag or American?
I think it was a Texas flag and that black hat. The hat got me even more than the shirt, but yeah, he was funny. He's a funny kid.
It doesn't bother me. Whatever he wants to wear, as long as he's in cowboy attire and what it takes to compete, I don't care.
That's awesome. And you got Bartender back. Tell me about what makes that horse, like, why does he stand out?
You know, I don't know. That horse, I bought him last summer. Before it was last spring, it's almost a year. The Goodson family brought him down here, real nice people. And his son, Roper, wanted to go to Healing. And, you know, I rode the horse that morning. I run about 5 or 6 steers. And there were just little things, you know. And I said, you know, I don't think it's going to work, this and that. Well, we went to lunch, and we were talking, eating, just good people, and enjoyed being around them. And then I said, well, let me ride him one more time. And I rode him one more time, but I kind of changed and put my bridle, just kind of like if he was already mine. And I rode him around for about 25 minutes, kind of messed with him, 20 minutes, kind of played around, got some feel for him. And first 2 or 3 steers I roped, I never turned off with them. And I don't know, I rode him that weekend at a couple of rodeos. 2 ropings, and he just tries real hard. I don't know, he does good for me. And I messed up selling him that one time, and was very fortunate enough to get him back, and took me a little bit of time to get back with him as far as him getting his confidence back. You know, I rode him this winter, and he tries every time. And, you know, what makes him a great horse for me is, you know, I would go out there rodeoing, and you would have 2 or 3 horses in the trailer, you know, and heck, that's the only horse I've rode and every steer for the last year dang near. He takes it every time, and, you know, he tries so hard, it's crazy. He wants to run as hard as he can, and he's a cool horse too. He doesn't have papers, but he's a gentle horse. My little girl rides him, and he's just a neat horse. He is, out of all the horses I've ever had, he has done more for me than such a short period. And I've had some not great horses, but I would say done great for me, has given me a chance to go very far. But Bartender has done so much for me, is just for me selling him and then getting him back, and my catching percentage on him has been good, and he just tries. He tries hard, you know. He knows when he's in that atmosphere. I mean, crazy. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's American. He knows when he's in there. He's just a winner.
Yeah.
Some horses got it, some horses don't.
It's time to get more from your horse feed, don't you think? That's why Safe Choice provides great tasting choices with high quality nutrition, including superior amino acid levels for a strong top line. So whether you're looking for more performance results or simply healthy benefits for more quality time together, you'll get more peace of mind when you feed Safe Choice. See what's new and find a retailer near you at NutrenaWorld.com/Safe Choice. Now, do you raise horses still, Colby?
Man, my mom, we raised horses, and my mom raised cutting horses and stuff, and, you know, showed horses, and I grew up around the cutting world, and all as a young kid. My stepdad, used to be stepdad, he owned a horse that had won the world a couple times, and I grew up with a man named Kenny Patterson, got to be around him all the time, low horses for him, and he committed suicide when I was 13, but he won the world, and he was an outstanding horseman. he's the one who helped me with my foundation, learning how to put draw on a horse and the little things that team ropers have no clue about that don't feel like that work that will help. The cutting world, you know, it's crazy. I was just very fortunate at the time. I didn't like it because I wanted to rope, make the NFR, and I thought that, oh, this isn't going to help me. But I'm so blessed to look back now and be able to grown up with the people that I grew up with. I got to ride with Ronnie Rice, low horses for Ronnie Rice, be around Tag Rice, all the rides. I mean, it just was a big deal, you know, and it's just good. I can go show a cutting horse if I need to. I worked at a reiner place for a year. I can go show a reining horse or ride a reining cow horse or do all of that stuff. And I enjoy all of that. Those are my favorite type of horses. If somebody asks me what's your favorite horse you own, it's going to be a horse that's been 2 years old to that 6 or 7 that's here now that I can go shoot a gun off of or go win top horse at a ranch rodeo. Or I mean, the horse the horses that we raised was that we had a mare called Haida Smart Dancer, and she the first year junior roped at the American with Jake Barnes was a horse that I called Pee Wee that Tommy Zuniga bought from me that I rode. We raised him and I rode him from as a 3-year-old. I think he was about 7 or 8 years old when Tommy bought him, and that was the first horse Junior rode at the American, and that was one of his first. Tommy had only bought him probably about 2 months before that, and that was one of his first big rodeos. Well, the half brother to him out of the mare was a horse called I called Big Time, and that's Marty Yates's horse. And
that you ranch rodeoed on, right?
Yep, and those 2 horses I raised. Both of them did everything on them. Both of those horses have been to all the ranch rodeos. You could head on Pee Wee, you could heel on him, you could do anything. My little boy Levi, I got pictures of him riding him. Big Time was the same way. I mean, I looked up the other night. I sent it to Marty. I have a picture of like a month before Marty bought him. 2 months before, I've got a picture of I roped a big hog down in the river bottom, and I'm standing back behind him, and Big Time's working rope, the hog's on the end of the rope, and 2 dogs that I'd raised. And I told Marty, I said, it's crazy that, you know, this horse went from both of those horses. You know, it was just neat that both of those horses were been through the same deal, been rode, done whatever, didn't matter. And, you know, really, Pee Wee, that was his first big rodeo, was the American dang near when Tommy had him and Junior bought him. And then Big Time, he went to Denver and all the rodeos right there at the very beginning, and Marty did great on him that year.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Can you give us an estimate of, like, what is the percentage of time that your horses spend in the arena versus working outside? Like, is there a breakdown percentage-wise?
Yeah, I'll tell you this. Like, I've got I have a stud horse right now that just turned 3 that's by Metallic Cat out of a mare called Another Playgirl, and she produced about 260,000, and I feel like he's a very good horse. I like him a lot. He's about as good a horse as I think I've had, and I will ride him. I healed a couple steers on him last night, yesterday evening. Well, the day before yesterday, I left in the house about 7:30 or 8, and I went and pinned some cows, moved some cows on him. And then Jared and my son came down there and went bow fishing and kind of played or messed out in the river bottom and messing around in all that deep water. I rode him through all that water, went and checked stuff. And then I unloaded some dogs and I went hog hunting on him. And I probably hog hunted on him for 3 hours. I roped the hog and tied the hog. He stayed on the end of the rope, you know, and it takes a lot for a horse to do that, for them to take that pressure of a hog being on the end of the rope, because a hog smells and they put off a lot of scent and the noise that they make. He took that, and you know, and he's 3, you know, and you would think right now he acts like a 6-year-old. I mean, I'm riding him in a solid bridle, or I'm not riding him in an O-ring. You can heel, and it's just the point. Like from my 2-year-old to 3-year-old year, when they get to about halfway through their 3-year-old year, I have to slow down and realize, hey, this horse is only this age, because they're getting to an extent of they feel like they're 5, 6 years old. There's not a job that they can't go do. They might not be the best at the job, but as far as being broke, gentle, hang out, let you go do your thing, and not get stressed out or worked up or anything like that. You know, I just have to slow down with what I do. But we ride them a bunch. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Like, as far as like, we're roping right now, and after we get done roping, there's nothing to do this evening. Well, we're not going to go sit inside. And I've raised my own dogs for. I started back when I was in 8th grade, 9th grade, and I guess it's around 17, 18, 19 years now. And I can tell you where I can show you every puppy I've had. I know where all the puppies I've let my buddies take. I've kept up with them. I know their mama, their daddy, their grandma, their grandpa. I can tell you their great-grandpa. I can tell you all the way back. I can tell you stories of what I did with this dog and that dog. So, like, I'll go get 2 or 3 young dogs, and I'll go get that young horse, and, you know, it gets to the point where when I get him, I'll tell you like this, when the dog starts laying under the horse, when it's hot and they're looking for shade in the trailer, your horse is starting. That's when there's a telltale sign that they're getting where they're broke and they're getting where they can go and do, and they're not going to have any kind of get excited, or it's, you know, and I don't have to tie them in the trailer. I can put my bridle on them, put my reins on them on the saddle horn in the trailer, and they'll stand in the trailer and not walk around. That's, for me, that's when they start showing patience and they don't get hot in the box. If they're still walking around in a gooseneck trailer as I'm driving or after me working all day or something like that, they're mine. They're not settling. They're not starting to get patient. They're still stressing out about being with other horses or stuff like that. And when they start standing still and being quiet-eyed and just waiting for their turn to go do stuff or me to go unsaddle them and put them up, they get easy. It gets to the point of it being easy.
Yeah.
It's when my little girl, I feel like, you know, we can start doing everything on them. You know, now, like you asked me about raising horses, I'm going to try with this horse, try and do a good job and see how far it'll take me. I want to do good. I want him to do good. He's a pretty good horse, I think, and he's a pretty horse, and I think the public will like him, and he's very, very talented. So we'll just see where it goes.
Do you think like rope horse futurity in your future with him, or?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. He's,
cool.
I have him, and then I've got a mare that is a Gilligan that goes back to like Brandon Beer's mare and the mare that I rode called Annie, the Fling mare. I've got a mare that's 5 that I bought last summer and done the same thing on, and I just turned her out, and she's doing good. That I think will be do good for the futurity, I hope. And then I've got 1 head horse.
Very cool. Now we can change gears a little bit. I know I'm glad we talked a little bit before I ask you to talk about this, but can you tell me? We wrote the story about Cody Nessmith riding bartender at the World Series finale, and we wrote the story about Cody and his situation. Can you give us a little recap on how Cody came to you?
Well, I went to a rodeo in Louisiana, ProRodeo, this fall. I've never gone to a ProRodeo over there. And his dad came up to me, and I seen his dad. You know, I could tell his dad was wanting to talk to me. And his dad come up to me and told me a story. And he's like, man, it was a miracle that we got to it the first time. And it was a dagger to the back right here for it to come back. We think you could call Cody or something. I said, man, yeah, not that far. You're only 3 hours from the house. And tell him. I said, I'll call him, but I mean, he can come to the house. It doesn't. Just tell him all he needs is some clothes. He doesn't need a horse, doesn't need a saddle, doesn't need a rope. Just come, you know. And about that next week, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, Cody was headed to go do chemo in Memphis. And he called me, And when he got home, he came over. And, you know, just like meeting anybody, you don't know how to take that kind of stuff. You know, it was kind of new to me. You don't want to step on toes. You don't want to say anything make you feel awkward. And, you know, Cody, he's humbled me. He's humbled everybody around him. He's by far the toughest person I've ever met, mentally and physically. The will to live in somebody is unbelievable. And what Cody shows and does is just, he's a testament of being unstoppable. I mean, he'll leave here, he'll go home, and he'll have a couple bad days, you know, where he's taking a new chemo now that he takes it for 5 days. And, you know, if that chemo hasn't kicked in yet, he'll be in pain. I mean, he'll hurt real bad. And I'll talk to him, and he tries to look to me for advice. And I'm like, I mean, I don't even know whereabouts I could even say something like that, or even begin to tell him, give him any kind of advice. I tell him, I mean, what I do with my life and what I've done is nothing to what you've done. I mean, he makes me want to be a better husband, better father. So, I mean, he's gotten to be close with all of us around here, Ty Arnold and Molly and Ty's family, my family, and we've gotten to be close with his family. And, you know, the coronavirus deal going on right now, that virus is real bad in Louisiana, over there where he lives. And, you know, he's having to stay but he's hard-headed, you know. He doesn't, I mean, he lives like there's no tomorrow, you know, and I don't blame him. I mean, but, you know, like, I have to tell him, hey, you need to look here. You know, that's kind of, hey, you got to slow down. He doesn't have no quit in him. I mean, there are no deaths this year. You know, it was, who knew, you know? And,
yeah.
I mean, his dad, you know, it told me, you know, this is tough. I don't know. You know, there's that question mark, and heck, he made it through it and come back over, and heck, he roped at the Patriot. And, you know, when we went to Vegas, the doctor said, hey, Cody, you don't need to go. You know, if your horse falls, or, you know, you don't really have an immune system, if anything happens while you're out there, you know, it couldn't be good. And that was something he wanted to do, and I don't blame him. And I told him, I said, just come out there. I said, you can ride my horse. I let him run 1 or 2 steers on bartender, and, you know, bartender back in there, and it was very, very neat to watch. I enjoyed it a lot. He turned 3 steers. He did a very good job. He just had bad luck, and just the way team roping goes. And, you know, he got home, and when he got home, it took a toll on him. I mean, he got down, and but he made it through it, and now he came back over, and he's roped, and they didn't think he would rope again, really. I mean, so, you know, each day.
Yeah, talk about a God thing, though. Like, you hadn't been to any rodeos around there. Like, what a crazy coincidence of you being in that place at that time, and like called to be in his life at the time. It just gives you chills if you think about all the timing.
Yep, I mean, you know, his dad and mom have been very nice to my family and my wife, and, you know, like I told him, I mean, what anybody I feel like would do what, I mean, I can't imagine, you know, I would want my son to enjoy life and be around people that felt comfortable and felt like they were cut from the same cloth, and we do. I mean, his dad and him, they hunt and run hounds over there and run deer. And Cody and I will be around here. We go hog hunting, and he enjoys the dogs and roping. And, you know, I have to tell him, I mean, it's crazy. I'll be roping or working or roping, and he'll be the only person up working the chute, literally. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know, people just lose track of thought. You know, when you fight the fight he's fought, you know, I mean, and you can tell he gets up and wants to take that next step. He wants to take an extra step and wants to do more than his part. I mean, But, you know, I've helped him, and I talk to him. We stay, like, when we rope, you know, I don't treat him like, I mean, I'd stay on him. I mean, if he's doing something, if I feel like he needs to try harder or do something, I mean, I tell him, I mean, he's a normal person to me, and, you know, he might be, his body strength might be weaker, but I just look at him as a normal person, and I feel like if I try and, I just push him. You know, we roped one day, and I seen that he missed 3 or 4 steers, and went to the back end of the arena, and he was sitting in the corner, and, you know, there was 7 or 8 people here. We had a pretty good crowd that day, and, you know, I told him, I went and come back up there. I said, Cody, what are you doing? I was taking my rope off steer. He said, man, I just fight my head. I just need to take a break for a minute. And I don't believe in showing signs of weakness. You know, I don't believe in chewing your fingernails when you get around competition. I don't believe in pacing. I just think that shows signs of weakness. That's, you know, that's what all good car players, they have a joker face. And I told him, I said, you can't show signs of weakness out here. I said, you know, there's people that look up to you, Cody. I said, you might not believe that, but when you show signs of weakness for the roping part, I said, it's all in the mental game. It's like having a new page. When you flip the page to the next page, nobody knows what was on the other page if you're the only person that saw it. And since then, and there's no weakness. I mean, and I think I texted him one day, and we was over there at the hospital, in Memphis, and said, man, you need to just relax, slow down. Ellie told, his exact words were, can't show signs of weakness. And I was like, golly. That's what he goes, and I might not eat lunch. I'm bad to not eat lunch. You know, when we rope and go all day, I don't eat lunch. And he never says a word.
That's amazing. Yeah, his story has certainly resonated, and we're always thinking about him and hoping that he's staying safe right now, because that was one of the things I thought about when I saw how bad Louisiana is with the virus. That, man, I hope he's locked down. Somebody's making sure he stays safe.
Yeah, he's holding tight, but it's like keeping a lion cage. Good Lord. He wants to get out and go, which I don't blame him, but, you know, what I really, like, I talked to his dad. Heck, who knows? I know that, like, last night, they had somebody that died about 20 miles from their house of the virus. And they're staying quarantined. They're doing
good.
What they're supposed to do.
Good. Very good. Yeah, absolutely. It's too scary. Well, sir, I will let you get back to roping. You have lots of practice to do to be sharp in a month when this all is behind us. 2 months. Who knows, but hopefully a month. So
yeah,
hopefully everybody stays safe, though. So thank you so much, Colby. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. No problem. Thank y'all.
Alrighty, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
See you.
Before we go, we've got to thank our partners at Safe Choice and Nutrena for sponsoring this episode of The Score. Check them out at nutrenaworld.com/safechoice to meet all of your horse's nutritional needs. I hope you all enjoyed this interview with Colby. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to stay tuned for lots of tips. We've got roping tips coming your way from all of the best in the business. We're going to have audio roping instructions that you guys can take to your own practice pens while you are having some downtime right now. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk at you next week.